Look at the zipper on your jacket. You pull one little slider and 2 rows of teeth lock together into a seam strong enough to hold the tent shut in a storm. There's no motor, no glue, no clever electronics, just a tiny wedge of metal shaped so precisely it's basically doing maths with your fingers. By the end of this, I'll show you exactly what's happening inside that slider. But first, 9 other everyday machines hiding genius in plain sight. Let's count them down. The ballpoint pen almost never happened, because ink is the enemy of writing. Too runny and it floods the page, too thick and it won't move. The fix is a tiny ball, usually under a millimeter of tungsten carbide, sitting in a socket at the tip. As you drag it across paper, it rolls, and that rolling pulls a thin coat of thick, oily ink from the reservoir and lays it down on one side while dry paper touches the other. It's a rolling seal. What gets me is the tolerance. That ball has to fit its socket within microns, or it either jams or leaks in your pocket. Speaking of clever seals, this next one keeps your coffee hot with basically nothing at all. Your thermos flask keeps coffee scalding for hours without a battery or a heater, and the trick is nothing. Literally nothing. There's a double wall of glass or steel with the air sucked out of the gap, and that vacuum is the point. Heat normally escapes 3 ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. Empty the gap and you've killed conduction and convection dead, because there's no material for the heat to travel through. Then they silver the inner surface like a mirror to bounce radiated heat straight back. James Dewar invented it in 1892 for storing liquid gases. He never patented it, and a German glassblower made a fortune selling it as the thermos. Next, a machine that measures temperature by literally bending. Before digital everything, your heating was controlled by 2 strips of metal glued back to back. That's a bimetallic strip, and it's beautifully sneaky. 2 different metals, say brass and steel, expand by different amounts when they warm up. Bond them together, and as they heat, one side stretches more than the other, so the whole strip has no choice but to curl. Coil it into a spiral and that curl becomes rotation. Old thermostats used it to tip a little glass bulb of mercury until it rolled and closed a circuit. An audible click, then the boiler fired. No sensor, no chip, just physics disagreeing with itself. This next one hides in your kitchen and cooks with radio. Your microwave doesn't heat from the outside in, it heats water molecules directly, all through the food at once. Inside is a magnetron pumping out radio waves at 245 GHz, and that frequency is chosen because water molecules are little lopsided magnets. The wave's electric field flips direction billions of times a second, and the water molecules frantically try to flip with it, twisting back and forth. All that molecular jostling is friction, and friction is heat. That's why a dry plate stays cool, but the food on it burns you. No water, no dance. And the spinning turntable, it's dodging the standing waves that create cold spots. Now, from waves you can't see to a spark you can. Flick a cheap lighter and the spark that lights it isn't actually from flint. It's a bit of a con in the name. That little grey rod is ferrocerium, a man-made alloy of iron and cerium and a few rare earths. When the steel wheel scrapes it, it shaves off tiny hot fragments, and here's the clever part. Cerium is pyrophoric, meaning it ignites in air at barely 150 to 80 degrees. So those shavings don't just get hot from friction, they spontaneously catch fire mid-air, throwing sparks at over 1,000 degrees straight into the gas stream. A baron invented it in 1903. Every lighter, every welding striker uses his alloy. Next, something that keeps time by shivering. A quartz watch keeps time because a tiny crystal is being electrocuted into a shiver. There's a sliver of quartz cut into a tuning fork shape, usually smaller than a grain of rice. Quartz is piezoelectric, squeeze it and it makes a voltage, apply a voltage and it physically bends, so the battery pings it electrically and it vibrates, and because of its exact size and cut it vibrates at precisely 32,078 times per second. A chip counts those wobbles, and every time it hits 32,768 it says, that's 1 second. Why that odd number? It's 2 to the 15th power, dead easy for the circuit to halve down. Accurate to seconds a month. This next mechanism you touch every single day. Every front door lock is a stack of tiny broken pins waiting to line up. Inside the cylinder are spring-loaded pins, each cut into 2 pieces at a different height. With no key in, those cut points sit at random depths, jamming the plug so it can't turn. Slide the right key in and the ridges on top of the key push each pin up by exactly the right amount, so all the breakpoints align in a single row. Engineers call it the shear line. The moment every gap lines up, the plug spins free. That's it. Lockpickers exploit tiny manufacturing wobble, nudging pins one at a time. Egyptians had a wooden version 4,000 years ago. Now, from locks to the humblest fastener of all. The safety pin looks like nothing, but it's one spring solving 2 problems at once. Walter Hunt bent it from a single piece of wire in 1849 in about 3 hours, the story goes, to pay off a $15 debt. That coil in the middle isn't decoration, it's a torsion spring storing tension, so the pin's point is always being pushed toward its clasp. And the clasp does double duty. It holds the sharp end captive so it can't stab you, and it uses the spring's own force to keep itself shut. One bent wire, no separate parts, no assembly. He sold the patent for $400 and made nothing more. Genius, undervalued. Now the second cleverest object in your pocket. That satisfying click pen is a genuinely elegant machine, a rotating cam that turns push into lock. Press the button and a plunger pushes a toothed cam down onto a set of angled ramps inside the barrel. Because the ramps are slanted, the cam can't go straight down. It's forced to rotate a fraction of a turn each press. On one rotation, the tip locks out. On the next, it slips into a deeper groove and springs back in. So a straight push becomes rotation, becomes an on-off latch, powered entirely by one spring. Watch a clear pen in slow motion and you can see the little wheel spin. Millions of clicks, no electronics. And now, that zipper I promised you. Here it is. A zipper looks like teeth just clicking together, but the real machine is that little slider, and it's doing 3 jobs at once with no moving parts.